Good morning and welcome back to BIFA TV, your daily dose of industry information. Today we're joined once again by Ian Matheson for this week's What the Papers Say. So Ian, thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you, Brooke, and hope you're the same.
Yep, all good, thank you. So what have we got coming up for today's episode?
Well, Brooke, last week ended with the continuation of trade tensions between the
Hmm.
USA and China. The US initiated fees on Chinese linked vessels, and China retaliated with its own fees on US related ships. And this has all raised concerns about higher shipping costs, potential global trade disruptions, and it's also escalated trade tensions.
And of course, that means increased rates for not only forwarders but shippers as well, right?
I guess so, yeah. There must be some interesting discussions going on between BIFA members that are active in the ocean freight forwarding environment and the container shipping lines they use.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, we'll see where those conversations lead.
Yeah, and in associated news, Brooke Drury's Composite World Container Index for last week supports the view that rate increases are on the cards. It
Okay.
increased 2% to $1,687 per 40-foot container, which marks the first increase after 17 consecutive weeks of declines.
Hmm.
Spot rates from Shanghai to Los Angeles increased 1%, as did those from Shanghai to New York, and spot rates on the Asia-Europe routes also increased.
I was gonna say, it feels weird to finally hear you say that after so long. It's been so long since you said that there's been an increase. So what have they said about it? Have they given a reason as to why?
Well, they've said they expect further rate hikes this week, driven by the general rate increases that the carriers implemented last week. But they also said they expect the momentum to be short-lived.
Yeah, of course. Well, I guess it all comes down to supply and demand at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Yep, and the market seems to think that the balance between supply and demand will weaken, putting
Mm,
more downward pressure on freight rates.
yeah. And like you said, there's so many things that can cause that kind of temporary spike, especially with all the ongoing issues.
That's right. There's plenty of geopolitical risks and
Yeah.
ongoing supply chain issues that could certainly affect the rates and make them
Hmm.
spike in the future. Now,
Yeah.
staying with this mode, the combined capacity of the major alliances, together with MSC, now accounts for 82.5% of
Wow.
global container shipping capacity. That's up
Mm,
from 82.1% 4 months ago.
yeah. Well, like you said, with that increase, it looks like that concentration, it's just going to continue.
It certainly does, yeah, and it shows not only the operational advantages of collaboration, but also the increasingly limited room for independent operators to compete in most trades.
Yeah, of course. Have they said what MSC share is of that?
Yeah, I mean, MSC obviously remains independent, but its
Mm.
sheer scale and global reach place it in a league of its own. As of today, it commands 21% of global container shipping capacity.
Oh, wow. So I guess it's a pretty big proportion of that 82% that you said. So what else have we got for this week?
Well, a couple of reports from Transport Intelligence caught my eye last week.
Okay. And what were they?
Well, one was an analysis of the European road freight transport market.
Okay. And what did the analysis say?
It said a lot of things, but in summary, TI concludes that there is significant consolidation at the
Mm,
top of the road freight market, but the sector remains highly fragmented and very competitive.
yeah. Well, I guess that report, it'll be of interest to our members in that sector. So we'll put a link to that in the description.
Okie dokie. Now, their other report analyses the current state of mergers and acquisitions in the freight and logistics sector.
Okay. And what did that report say?
Well, too much to cover really in the time we have left, Brooke,
Mhm.
but in summary, TI said that the September 2025 figures marked another robust month for logistics mergers and acquisitions,
Mhm.
and activity was underpinned by two defining trends.
Okay. Did they say what those trends are?
Yeah, they did. They said the integration of digital and AI enabled supply chain technologies and the strategic expansion of physical logistics capacity across last mile, temperature controlled, and intermodal networks stood out.
Mm, of course. So again, it sounds like another report that will be of interest to our members. So we'll put a link to that in the description as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea, Brooke.
Mm,
Now, let's end this episode, shall we, with a bit of a plug for a business I used to be involved in.
yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Well, it's the Heavy Lift Awards ceremony in London this week.
Yep, it certainly is, Ian. And will you be going this time?
No, I've not been invited this year, and it is my rock choir rehearsal evening, so probably
Okay.
not.
Well, I'm sure that loads of our members active in that sector, I'm sure that they'll be in attendance instead.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I guess there will be, Brooke. Some of them are on the shortlist for the Project Logistics Company of the Year.
Yeah, we wish them the best of luck.
Absolutely, and I hope all the attendees have a great evening.
I'm sure they will. Right, well, thank you, Ian, as always, for this update. I know that our members will find it of use.
As always, Brooke, it's a pleasure.
The links to all of the articles and reports that we've discussed in today's episode will be in the description for any of our members to have a look at. That's all for today's edition of BIFA TV, your daily dose of industry information.